LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I
filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
what do I do?
My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back at it again with another Shades of Blue here on KC Soccer Journal. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a point in the second game of the season. We didn't get to a point till fourth game last season, so we are doing well in 2026. We have a celebrity in our midst. We have lots to talk about. She Believes Cup, U.S. men's national team competition heating up as well. Got a little bit of Comets news. A lot to talk about tonight, gentlemen and lady. We have Carrie Robinson. We have David Greenwald and Thad Bell with us. How we doing out there?
Excited.
You know, Robert, and
You sound like it.
a pessimist would say we're only half as bad as last year, but the optimist would say we're twice as good.
And David, your little note says we sucked. So which side are you on?
I
I'm
didn't
not
write
sure.
that. Somebody else wrote that.
Carrie, you were at the match last night. You're the celebrity I was referring to. We'll get to that later. But did you enjoy the Cauldron last night?
I did. It was great. A lot more crowded than I was anticipating. Granted, I think that home opener, they're really trying to push out tickets. So next week will be interesting. But I hope that this was the spark that people needed to get back to the stadium.
Yeah, am I right? I heard that they sold standing room only tickets as well. I mean, it wasn't full, but yeah, nice. I'm just wondering, will the Cauldron be that full late September? We'll have to find out.
I think that depends on the team.
I think so, but let's talk about that team last night. David Greenwald, Decky is your favorite player. You're always pimping how good of a finisher he is. Break down Decky's performance last night for us.
So, I mean, it's funny because he didn't touch the ball a ton, but when he got the ball in dangerous spots, he converted, right? And that's what makes him so much better than most other like strikers in the league and a lot of other guys that have worn the kit for us before, is that he's clinical. When he gets that chance, he's going to take it, and he's usually going to make it. Neither the first finish didn't seem difficult on face, right? He had the nice little touch, sent somebody the wrong way, and from there it's a pretty easy, finish. The second one, though, to be able to pick out that corner, that was nice. That was a really nice touch. But Decky also did a good job of tracking back and being more involved in the whole thing, and trying to be involved in build-up play and everything. Overall, like a very complete performance.
Yeah, Carrie, you only got to see goals on the other end of the field for Sporting Kansas City, but your point of view from there, Calvin Harris key on that play, or what are your thoughts?
Oh, I could see. I think I was in the brew house for that one on the first goal. That Decky scored. I could see that coming from a mile away. I think I might have been the most hyped in the brew house, jumping up and down. I was just in the line waiting for beer because my friend accidentally knocked over someone else's beer. So I was like, it's fine. I'll just go get a new one for them. So, but
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Can't be short on enthusiasm for sure. But I mean, Harris's ball that he played, I thought maybe he overshot Decky, on that one. But Jake obviously picked it up. Nice little touch. And just like a chess master, you could argue. Patient Decky was and opportunistic in that situation. Thad, were you photographing on that end?
I was on that end, and yeah, I initially thought he flubbed the touch because it went to his left foot and kind of just dropped, and then he patiently put it in. So I'm not sure if that was planned, but it was expertly dealt with whether it was planned or not.
And his celebrations, I think for every goal, he just seems like, yeah, I just did that. I'm cool. All right, let's go do it again.
Yeah, so to kind of change the subject away from Decky, but still to talk about that first goal, you mentioned that you thought Calvin Harris might have overcooked the cross. And he did, right? He didn't find Decky, who I think he was looking for. But what I thought was different and interesting about that cross compared to a lot of the prior years with Peter Vermees, we didn't, as a team, hit a lot of like early crosses under Vermees. The team didn't seem to love the early ball. It was a lot of, Daniel and Johnny and all those guys would take touches and try to drive like down the byline. But this was Harris taking a touch or two and then hitting an early cross, which I really liked because I thought it gave us the best opportunity to still hit them in transition before the defense could really try and get back and get set. Which is ultimately what happened, right? Is they found Jake's foot, and then Jake was able to square it off to Decky. But the whole thing, from the time they won the ball till the time that Decky put it in the back of the net, that's a team goal, and that was beautiful counterattacking football. I mean, that was gorgeous to watch.
Yeah, it's a good point, David, for sure. Early on in the game, I don't remember who the guy who was defending that side for Columbus, but the defender for Columbus won the first couple of battles. And I think a light went on in Jaden Reed's head, Calvin Harris's head, and said, okay, we do need to play a little bit quicker. We can't hold on to the ball and try to beat this guy 1v1.
I want to add on to that though, David, the team goal there, because I think that's the one Manu stole it off of a player, actually passed it to Shoppy, who passed it back to Manu, who passed it to somebody, to Dayon, who passed it to Manu, who passed it to Calvin Harris, who passed it to Jake, who passed it to Dayon. So yeah, it was, I don't know how many passes was in there. I may have had one of those passes in there incorrect, but that's half the team touched that ball on the way there, and that was all of about 6 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but that left side, guys, last night, they were on. I mean, the space that Manu was able to find because Bartlett was, more receiving the ball from the back, and then just Reed is good overlapping. Harris, of course, stretching the defense and getting on the ball quickly. It was just a nice thing to see, and you gotta mention Shoppy, I guess, too, huh?
I know Shoppy catches a lot of crap, but I thought he did pretty decent. He wasn't at the star of the game, but he did all right.
Carrie, were you surprised to see Shoppy playing in that position?
I was, just because although, leading up to all of these with the preseasons, like he was starting in all of those, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. You would just think that maybe someone would have beaten him out by now for that starting spot. But in terms of play, I felt like this team, I've not seen them this competitive in a while. They were scrappy. They were not getting pushed around too much, which was amazing to see.
Yeah, and then talking about Scrappy, that second goal, I think it was maybe Meyer or Bartlow who won the header, and then was it Reed who then played the ball quickly, and then Manu played the ball at wide with Harris, and then this one here, Harris, kind of the antithesis of what we talked about before, got his head up and played the right ball, which was to Shoppy, top of the box. So developed a little bit differently than the first one, but still the same counterattacking, still the same kind of teamwork there in that left side. And then, of course, Joveljic just pounced on the rebound off Shoppy's shot and put it away smartly. The left side, what did the right side do last night, guys?
They
Who
existed.
was on the right?
There you go. I think that's our answer, isn't it?
They you know they did stuff and a few things. I think. Um, I mean, what's interesting about
They
this
were
game,
there.
what's interesting about last night, I saw a lot of people complaining about how we lost the possession battle, and um, there's some real wiki haters. They have not embraced the wiki way. Um, but our team was compact and organized defensively. Like despite giving up 2 goals, we didn't seem disorganized. There wasn't seemingly a ton of scramble defense, but I think because we're trying to stay organized out of the back, there's not a ton of necessarily like beautiful progressive attacking soccer going forward. So much of the magic we made yesterday was based off of countering. I thought we kind of struggled up the right side. I didn't think we put together a whole lot. The XG kind of reflects that we didn't necessarily create like a ton. Um, but I think Wiki's plan was to hit on the counter. And I mean, how often have we been talking about that over the last couple of years? Like using a guy exactly like Calvin Harris, and where you can dump the ball in the channel and let him run onto it, imagine if we had a fleet-footed right winger where you could, hit a diagonal switch and let a guy run onto it, somebody with real pace like a Frifa or with Calvin Harris. Um, and that allows you to stay compact at the back and not just ship goals left and right like we had been for the last couple of years. So, yeah, I mean, Jake had a pretty decent game. Shappy was fine. I mean, he was certainly not our worst player, but I don't know that our attack looked amazing when they weren't in transition.
Yeah, I mean, 1.909 was the XG. Let's go back a little bit to the defense, though. Columbus's was 3.48. Of course, there's a PK in there, too. But they had some chances. They missed a couple of chances. They hit the post on that one opportunity where I think it was Rossi hitting the post there at very close range. So, I mean, we were organized to an extent, I think, maybe certainly more so than against San Jose. But when you allow that high of an XG, there are some issues. And, we can get into those certainly, but I guess we have to start with Camp, right? That first goal. Did anybody even realize what had happened until it happened? Carrie, did you see that? Were you in the brew house getting a beer or what was going on?
No, but I don't know, it just felt like a very sporting goal. I was like, "Yep, we're doing
Okay,
this.
well, hold
We're
on.
doing this."
Hold on, because all three of you were at the game. I'm the only one who watched it on television. They were playing a replay, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, the ball was in the back of the net. Because I'd like briefly looked down at my phone because I didn't care about the replay, and all of a sudden I was like, "Wait, what?" And they missed the play. Like Apple missed the play. But that's one of that's a pretty bad mistake. I don't know why you would ever want to make that pass in that situation. Because even if it hadn't been an immediate turnover, you've automatically put a player under pressure. Just play it long.
There were two guys on him.
Just
Yeah,
play it
why
long.
even play that ball? Exactly.
Just hoof
Yeah.
it long.
Well, there was two Sporting players there and two Columbus players, and he played it basically in between the two Sporting players for the Columbus player just to step into it.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear what Wicky had to say about it?
We would, yes, because, he's a young keeper still, Mr.
Are
Polskamp.
these wise words from Wicky?
We'll see.
I think this is a really good performance from John and helps him to grow. He's a young goalkeeper still, and mistakes will always happen in life, right? I'm making mistakes, you're making mistakes, players make mistakes. When a goalie makes a mistake, it's goal, right? But so the most important thing is the reaction.
The reaction. Did he play better after that? Did he came up big in the PK?
That was
For certain. I mean, John, he didn't let it rattle him. I think it was the key there because later on he did kind of get control of his box. His distribution the whole game was terrible. Let's, admit that. But yeah, he didn't let it affect him. And then his attitude during that PK, I don't know if you guys saw it, if you're looking closely, if you rewatched it, but he kind of like winked. I don't know, he winked at the shooter, but he looked pretty confident in that moment and made the save.
I thought it was a very poor game from John overall. The PK save was nice. I mean, no doubt about that. But I also felt like it was a little bit of, ball don't lie. It was a soft PK to give. And I think missing it was maybe just the football gods giving us a little karma. But, Robert, you mentioned that the ball that hit off the post, it was a mishit cross, right? There's no way that the Columbus player, I can't remember, was it Arfston or Gazdag? I can't remember who hit it, but
I think it was Arston, yeah.
was no way that was an attempt on goal. I think he was trying to go back post for Diego Rossi. But
Yeah.
John misread the ball and misplayed it, which is why it went over his head and banged off the post, rather than him being able to collect it in the air like he should have.
Well, Rossi was surprised by that too. That's why he just barely got a touch to it before knocking it off the post. But, Pulskamp, he is young, but he's been with the team so long, he doesn't seem young, right? And maybe our expectations are, affected by that matter. But, you know, I'd like to see some competition, but I think John is our number one. I think we should ride him as far as we can, as far as, okay, if he keeps making big mistakes, yeah, we're going to have to pull him. But I think he needs to keep developing unless we sign somebody else that's really going to be pushing him hard. I don't know if we have that guy right now.
I don't think that he's been making those same kind of mistakes, though. I mean,
Right.
he may not be the best passer with his feet that some keepers are, but I don't think he's the worst either. But I've not seen him like pass the ball straight up the middle to a opponent like that often, right? I mean, his biggest mistakes are usually when he deflects a ball, it deflects into an opponent, where they can get another chance on it. So I don't want to like use that one mistake as like that's the reason that
Sure.
we don't like pulse camp.
Well, could it be the impact of the way he's being told, that we want to
Yes.
play this way, and when you distribute the ball, we want you to be doing this more often? That's probably in his head too.
One of one of the things that I have noticed different this year with like goal kicks is that I've seen a lot of teams in Europe and even around MLS start to do it. Instead of the goalkeeper taking the initial goal kick and maybe playing it to a center back, it's the center back takes it, plays it to the keeper. And that's supposed to give the keeper more time and they can go left or right instead of like if you're the keeper, you play it to the left center back. He can maybe go to the keeper or go to the outside left back. But when you have like a lot of times when you have a 3-back line or a 5-back line, a lot of the teams are trying to do is they play it to the keeper, and now he has a lot more choices of where to go. So maybe he's having to make more decisions now than what he had to do before and being called upon that. So that might be a difference in how some of that's working. But I think it's a good way to play that now versus just always playing it to an outside back or to another center back, and then you can have guys rushing in on them. So now when you get to the keeper, they have options.
So let's pulse camp. Shoppy is at 8. We already talked a little bit about that. I don't know if we have any more comments on it. We come back to it if we want to.
Robert, can we go back
Yes.
to Pools Camp for just a second?
Oh, sure.
So, again, I was the only one watching on TV. I didn't hear a whole lot of anything specific when Pools Camp made that big PK save. Obviously people were pretty happy. But I don't know if let's say Kerry Robinson, did you hear anything being chanted from the cauldron when Pools Camp made a save?
Well, there's also a video that I guess they had a camera out there, and so they had post camp save, and it immediately turns, and you can see everyone behind me flipping off the failed PK attempt, which is very fun to see. Yeah, there was a nice little Big Dick John chant going on afterwards.
Don't you love how Carrie just kind of really quickly said that phrase? She didn't want to stand on it too long.
Now, Carrie, were you partaking in that phrase?
Of course,
Okay.
my friends started the chant.
She didn't back down
Of
from
course
that one,
they
Robert.
did.
Yes.
No, I won't.
So,
I-
Carrie,
I will
was
say
gonna-
I was very surprised. I don't think that I was expecting that save to happen. It cannot be a sporting game without a PK, let's be honest, right now.
So, Carrie, I was going to lead into you for this next one on our list. Would you have lost your shit if Ian James had scored a goal playing as an attacking back?
Oh, 100%. 100%. That guy,
So, what'd you
is
think of
ki-
his performance out there?
he's kind of scary. As like a 17-year-old, he is big. I didn't realize how big he was. I don't know.
He's
I-
doubled in size in the last 2 years.
He has. And it's scary. If he's coming towards me, I think I would be more scared of him than Poles Camp.
Yeah, he's thick, he's tall. Really, like, sweetheart of a guy, though. Really soft-spoken, too. But, yeah, I mean, interesting to play him out there. I think it worked as far as what they wanted to do with the 3-back system that they were playing. David, thoughts on Ian James?
FootMob has him rated as our second worst player behind Bartlett. Bartlett's the only guy who got a lower score, which was interesting because it doesn't match the eye test. I thought he played actually a pretty solid game. Often it's usually a good thing if your center backs are kind of invisible. Like if your back line is kind of invisible, that's a good thing. Unless you're like, oh, my right back whipped in a cross and is like a nice attacking player, right? Like Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't known for his defense. He was known for being, an offensive player, right? Same with Serginho Dest. So given that Columbus had the bulk of the possession, given how good Columbus is, Ian didn't stand out to me as doing a lot of things bad. I wasn't like, oh man, like he's getting, scorched in defense or anything like that. And it was fun to see him kind of marauding forward. I call it the trademark Iko Paro, where you're like somebody who shouldn't maybe have the ball, like cruising forward, and you're just like, okay, anytime you want to pass it, dude. Just anytime you want to give it up, pass. And then, something kind of dangerous comes of it. I thought he had a pretty decent game.
I think you're going to see more of that as other defenders come into this team, I think you're going to see Wicky involve those guys a lot more getting into the attack. Just, I think.
Are you foreshadowing more signings, Thad?
Would I do that?
Well, there's supposed to be, what, 3 to 6?
We got one.
Yeah. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But
So-
you talked about ratings, and you said Bartlett was rated low. And let's just talk about him a little bit. I talked to him after the match in the locker room, and I think he was afraid I was going to ask him about the play for the first goal and say something about that, but I didn't. But, he's growing, right? But there's still those struggles that are in there. And I think the problem is, and this was Manu's admitted problem the first game, I think Bartlett's trying to do a little too much. He tries to pressure here when he really should be covering here. He should be running with this guy when he really wants to pressure the ball and make a difference, and kind of show himself a little bit. You got to feel a bit for the guy because Lasseberg is sitting there waiting to take his position, right? So that's not a good place to be. Carrie, what did you think of Mr. Bartlett's play last night?
You know, didn't rate him very highly. Between him and honestly both of the Bartlow and Bartlett.
The Barts.
The Barts. Can we
At
start
least
that?
there's like too many J's too, so
There are a lot of J's.
Jacob Bartlett, Jake Davis, something Bartlow.
Did the Barts come with like a pair of jean shorts and like a T-top, Camaro from the 80s? Bart and Bart?
not sure how that one came about there, David.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure on that one either, David. You lost us there.
Dukes of
But as far
Hazzard.
as ratings go, Meyer versus Bartlow. I thought Wyatt Meyer struggled in that match, and I would be surprised if he was not near the lowest ends of the ratings. He's kind of slow and lumbering. I mean, not low, slow. Out there, he doesn't read the play very well. Sometimes he commit somewhere where he really needs to be, dropping and covering. I thought Bartlow, though, obviously he had that first half header that almost opened the scoring for us. That was very nice. But I think he played pretty alert and didn't make any mistakes that were glaring in my mind.
Meyer was the second highest defender on our ratings on FootMob.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it
don't
was
see why.
6.9 for Reed, 6.8 for Meyer, 6.7 for Bartlow, 5.9 for James. I got to think that they probably took at least a half a point off of James for the penalty.
I need everyone to know that David did the 6-7 hands.
Well, personally, I'm not a big fan of Wyatt Meyer at this point, so I'll just put that out there.
Not a huge fan of either of them. I think they're both replaceable. I think they're both very decent center back depth. But
Well,
when you're-
eventually.
yes, but that's what I'm hoping for, is that they are depth, not starters. Nothing against those guys, and maybe I think they've been okay, but they can be better players in that position.
I mean, I fully expect that Blore will come in the summer and take one of the starting spots. The question is who's in the other one, and also where is Jansen Miller?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Apparently, he's lower on Wiki's list than he is on ours.
No further insight, Thad. I'm disappointed.
Well, here's my guess, and I haven't asked about this, but maybe I will in the next chance to talk to him. But my guess would be that Jansen is less calm, because he praised Bartlow for being calm on the ball, and Jansen's a little more excitable, and he's Sporting last year. I think their best defense was actually when they had Jansen and Voloder out there, because they both cared, they both scrambled really hard, and they weren't perfect, but they worked really hard. I think Wicky might be looking for somebody who doesn't have to work quite so hard. I don't know. If it was me, I'd probably be starting Jansen also, but I haven't seen him in practice enough to say that one's being better in practice or not. Maybe Jansen took a step back. Maybe those other guys come in with just that other experience, but Jansen got a lot of games last year. So,
well, we're talking about the Wicky Way, right? And I really like the David Lee way. I'll give him that. The Wicky Way is developing, and we saw a lot more of it last night. And we asked him in the post-game presser about, formation, because that formation was a little bit hard to read last night, but if you looked at it closely, you could figure it out. But Thad, I think you got a good quote from Rafa about just formation and what he expects from his players.
The system is not so important to me. We showed, let's say we had a 4-1-4-1 system today, but out of a 4-1-4-1 defensively, we went into a 5-2-3. Attacking wise, we built with a 3. So the system itself is not so important. It's really the animation. It's really how we want to defend. And I think the team did really well applying the plan we tried to implement this week.
I love the phrasing because he used system instead of formation, but then he talked about how it's the animation that's important. I love that.
Make it come alive, right? Yeah, it's up to you guys. Here's the plan.
Is it an odd way to phrase it? Because, we often talk about how formation doesn't matter, tactics do. Because the difference between a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3 isn't that big, depending on how you want to play it. But the system, I would, in general, at least American soccer parlance, the system matters a great deal.
I know. I think he was very much asked about which formation, and he answered in system. And so I'm going to take, for him, system meant formation, and animation just means how your movement is with that system.
Well, and because, formation doesn't matter, because even among every 4-3-3, when you have your pressing triggers, how you choose to attack, whether you want to play through the middle or through the outside, formation, I think, is an overrated thing that people talk about, and like how the team sets up. But it was just kind of funny to hear, the system doesn't matter at all. I'm like, well,
I think it's just that he has different words, English words differently than we do. So I think that's all it is.
And I think in some way he's trying to condition the questions and the press to his expectations. This is how I do things. Get with the program.
I think we're like 2 press conferences away from Thad making a dad joke and calling it the Swistom.
Well, man, you took my thunder.
Well, guys, we got a point in the second match of the season. Again, we didn't get it to the 4th match last season, so that's progress. But yeah, definitely the Wicky Way having some dividends. And I think it's time for a break. So we'll see you on the flip side for segment 2.
LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into the latest trends and insights in your field. We cannot stop your coworker from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help you find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your coworkers from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help you bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
Who's got a train?
All right. Yeah, where is that coming from?
Carrie?
That's probably me. It's the wind.
The train? I hear a train.
Yeah, it sounds like a train.
That's wind.
Wow, impressive. Well, Carrie, speaking of impressive, so you are the celebrity I was referring to earlier. You were in the video that the team released, the whole jazz theme, and did you whistle along too? Or
No. I cannot whistle.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that. That was pretty cool that you're involved with that. How did that all come about?
Yeah, after our Behind the Shield last year, we've kept in touch with the videographers, and we're friends with some of the people on the content line. And they were like, hey, we need a fan aspect for this video. Is obviously the Wizards available? And so we met up with them, shot a few takes in front of the Sporting KC mural in Crossroads. And yeah, the idea was to make it seem like we were walking to the game, getting hyped up. It's really just, the new era with the Jazz, and the Jazz is following us to the game.
So how many takes did it take to get it right?
I'd say we probably did like 3.
Okay, that's impressive. And then did you go to Tom's Town afterwards? Because that's right there too. Just wondering.
No, Taps on Main, actually.
Okay.
But we did go there afterwards. Don't worry, there was an after party.
You were supposed to be walking from the Crossroads to the Sporting Park?
Play along, David. Come on, man.
Yeah, in theory.
No. I'm just trying to conceptualize. I didn't see this video. Was there like, I don't know, a yellow brick road for you?
No.
That's a missed opportunity.
Apparently, Carrie can apparate just from there to the stadium.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, any city is really walkable whenever you try hard enough.
When you walk far enough, yeah.
But it was very fun. We got It was fun seeing Manu Garcia follow us. We did not follow him. And then the next day he posted the photo on his story of the mural. And so he's following us. He wants
nice.
us.
All right, well, continuing the jazz theme last night, guys, I thought the playing of the national anthem on the saxophone was pretty impressive last night. David, that come across on TV? Did they show that at all? Okay, well, great. Thad, what did you think of that?
I liked it. It was a good jazzy saxophone. It was a good sax performance of the national anthem. And I love that they still have a signer for what the words are.
There you go. There you go. You know what my mom calls the saxophone?
I don't. Wait. Do
Is it
we
age
want?
appropriate?
Do we want to know?
She calls it the saxophone because
Yeah.
you know you hear the saxophone and that's what her mind goes to. I guess I don't know, but anyway.
All right.
Embarrassing
Spontaneous
mom
question.
stories.
A spontaneous question to get away from that statement. What is your favorite saxophone performance in a rock song?
Well, there's a couple of them in The Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, so I would have to say something from that, bro.
Okay. Well, this is how I know I'm probably closer in age to Carrie. Carrie, did your mind go to the saxophone guy from Eurovision?
No, my mind went to Bleachers and Modern Girl, which is going to be very niche for people listening.
Yeah.
David?
I went to the saxophone guy from Eurovision like a dozen years ago.
Hey, Clarence Clemens in Born to Run, Bruce Springsteen is pretty good performance as well.
I don't know who that is.
I know who Bruce Springsteen
He's dead.
is.
Clarence Clemens is dead. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know the guy.
Let's play Dead or Alive, shall we? No.
All right. So, how was the
Shocky's left
crowd?
foot.
Right. Yes, Dead or Alive. He had a good serve last night, a good shot on goal that forced a nice save. But anyway, the crowd, I thought, I don't know, Carrie, you had a good point of view. Thad, you had a better point of view because I was up in the press box. But what, 70% full? Yeah, no.
The west side looked fairly empty, but one thing you got to remember with that is a lot of those people can be in clubs watching it because it was kind of turned colder than most people thought. So I thought at the beginning, it was cold and then it just got colder. And there was some incredibly crazy woman there in a short dress with no sleeves and no coat because somebody like pointed her out. And I'm like, okay, don't be weird. But he goes, no, look, she's got to be freezing. And I went, oh, yeah, you're right. So I'm sitting there very cold. And the guy next to me that works for the club was like, I can't take it anymore. I'm going inside. I'm like, dude, you got 15 minutes left. It got cold. So I just wonder if some of those people were inside watching it.
Meanwhile,
Or maybe not.
Meanwhile, Carrie and her beer in the cauldron didn't feel a thing, and they were just having a good time.
No, it was great. I feel like we are slowly getting sparkled.
Oh.
The fans are being sparkled.
That is the word that Wicky was using. I did have that clip cut, but I forgot to load it up here, apparently.
Come on, Thad.
Yeah, but his quote was, the fans are here showing up, great crowd, but our energy, we have to sparkle for those fans.
Okay.
So what do we think of all the neon colors and all that they're just really hammering on everything? You know, picture, sign, lights at the stadium. Are we in with this or what do we think?
I'm okay with it, except I think that they need to have actual neon lights in the stadium now.
Okay.
And not in the hallway outside the locker room.
That's true. Yeah, that was a little bizarre, wasn't it?
It was so not good. I know I'm not using very good descriptive words there, but you go into the hallway that's between the locker room and the press conference room, and it is lit nothing but two long blue neon-ish lights down the hallway, and it just gives us a very weird glow. All the colors are weird, and I feel sorry for the poor security guy. He's got to sit in there the entire game. Because as soon as I walked out of that room, I'm like, okay, my eyes had to adjust back again. I think today he's probably just getting color vision back into his head or something.
Yeah, we had to put some stuff up for the TIFO, and it is a hard, 10-yard walk through that area.
Overall, though,
All right.
I like the branding.
Yeah.
Like a barbecue themed shirt and season would be very tough to pull off as much as I like barbecue. But jazz is it's a crucial part of who we are and what made this city so what it is. So to see them embrace it and really play into it's really fun. It's cool. I mean, I know Thad, Robert, you guys aren't Kansas City natives, but I was born and raised here. I'm really proud of our jazz history and It's just really cool to see.
Yes, but David, do you go out and listen to live jazz? Because I do.
I did before I had kids. We used to go to Green
Yeah.
Lady all the time and Jardines before it closed. So you all don't know this about me. I used to play the drums, and I am a fine rock drummer, but really loved playing jazz drums. And I would play with a brush. And my old drum teacher's in a band, and I still see him around the town every so often.
Impressive.
Ray DeMarchi. Shout out to Ray. But no, I mean, I love going out and listen to live jazz. But, I have 3 kids, so that's not always easy.
The Calder is always looking for more musicians, David. You can go in there and play drums.
That's right. I could.
You could join the Blue Inferno. They branded this year.
But hey, since we're on the topic, Thad has done some photography for me on the side when I've written about a couple of jazz artists. So on thepitchkc.com. So check those out sometime too.
Oh, if we're plugging websites, should we plug ours?
Go for it, David.
Well, I got it wrong the last time I did it. Why don't you plug it?
What, the KC Soccer Journal, where everything sporting Kansas City, KC Current, Kansas City comments can be found? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, we got a wide variety of articles there and a couple different podcasts, national team, which we'll talk about a little bit later, podcast that's going to be coming online sooner or later, hopefully sooner. But yeah, a lot of the KC Journal, subscribe, do all them things. And of course, we got to talk about Off to See the Wizards. Carrie, little plug.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I was giving you the mantle to give a little plug, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. We should have some upcoming exciting videos coming out based around World Cup.
Where do we find you?
We are on Instagram and Twitter at To See the Wizards on Twitter and at Off See the Wizards on Instagram.
All right, nice. Well, before we go to segment 3, we'll take a break here in just a bit. Locker room atmosphere, Thad, last night was kind of relaxed. Kind of, we're on a mission, good result. It wasn't a win, but what were your thoughts when you were in there?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was not super excited, like, oh my God, we won an important game, but it also wasn't depressed. So it was a little more relaxed. And I don't know if that's just the difference in the group or, they weren't. To me, they should be happy with a point considering how the season ended last year. But being half new people, that's maybe not the case. And then,
Yeah, what's really cool, I think, we talked to Calvin Harris, we talked to Jaden Reed, and just underneath the way they're talking, even Manu, I thought, and I didn't hear Dayon so much because there's such a crowd of people around him, but there's I don't know, kind of an enthusiasm under their words, kind of underlying all their words. They're excited about being here. They're excited about what's going on. I just don't think they want to express it too much right now. They don't want to get too excited about things because, they haven't gotten a win yet. But it's good to hear that.
you were there when I was talking to Reed, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of asked him about the wiki comment about the system doesn't matter. It's the animation. And his eyes kind of lit up like, yes, like it made sense to him and he knew what it meant and the movement that they're doing. And I think that they're just very early in that progress. Again, I'm not going to make the argument that Wicky is the best coach in the league or he's the right coach for long term. I do think he's probably going to help coach a lot of younger guys and to be better. And he has the right attitude for it, where he won't maybe yell at them for things or something and make them too nervous, but we'll see. But I think he's got a plan. I think he's got a plan, the Wicky Way, and we'll see how that turns out in the long run when he has more players to choose from, perhaps better. And so that's just a positive that I took from how everybody responded to those things.
Yeah, we had media day this past week on Tuesday, and you just could feel that new life injected into the club just in a big way. It's just felt different that way too. Carrie, did you get the same kind of feeling?
Yeah. I think it felt like, well, even with going back to Manu, it feels like he's really bought into this team. Whereas last year, I mean, he was new to the league, not in a great position. And he didn't have an off break, but now, you've seen him be named one of the captains. It feels like he's really bought into that role.
Yeah, I mean, his play last night to me was, I mean, he was working hard out there and he's riding tackles. And he said to me that, yeah, I've been trying to get a little more physical into my game. So, yeah, I agree with that for sure. But yes, we did talk about Orb Lorian being signed. Hope I pronounced that right. Probably didn't. Israeli center back on a pre-contract, which when's the last time we did that? Been a while. But Yeah, like we said earlier, hopefully he's the guy that maybe takes over Whitemeyer or Ethan Bartlow's position or Jansen Miller, whatever the case may be. But any thoughts on Orb Lorien?
From what I've seen of him, he looks good. It's hard to tell off of those usual highlight reels.
Yeah.
But what I've understood is he's rated as one of the top or one of the top couple center backs in that league, and he's got some height and he's can get forward a little bit. It looks like so. I'm looking forward to him getting here, and again, it works out really well with how the the break works for the league this year. Is that they will be able to have him in and practicing for like a month and a half before they have a game. So it's not like he's just going to come in and have to play the next game and not know the names of the people next to him.
All right. Well, we're going to go to segment 3 here in a bit. We're going to preview that with national team, Comets, She Believes Cup for the women, and Kansas City Current Opening Training Center, and Sporting's next game. So we'll be right back.
But yeah, She Believes Cup started today. Canada beat Colombia and U.S. beat Argentina. U.S. Lindsay Heaps with a goal, and I think it was Jaden Shaw had the other one.
Yep.
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to watch too much of it. I was too busy doing other stuff, but I will replay it a little while after I get done with all this other stuff, which means tomorrow.
So where does Argentina?
Not much else to say about that.
So
yeah, where does Argentina sit in the women's rankings? 30th. So possible that we did not play our top lineup, which, Rodman started on the bench, Claire Hutton started on the bench, probably some others that we could mention that, normally would be in the starting lineup. But yeah, our next match is Canada, correct, on March 4th. And then we've got Colombia on March 7th to round out the group stage. Carrie, did you catch the match at all?
I did not.
Okay.
Canada should be the toughest opponent for the U.S., and that's probably why some of the better players did not start. I saw Claire made it in. I didn't look at the other
Halftime,
updates.
yeah.
So I would assume that she started. She's looking at it as a regular, like a World Cup type tournament. So you're going to maximize the points. You're going to try to make sure you have your best players available and healthy for the bigger opponents and stuff. So I think she did not maybe start the best lineup possible tonight, but I think Emma Hayes will start the best lineup possible against Canada, most likely.
And where can we catch these matches on television?
TNT and True. Okay. I don't know the other one.
So I don't quite understand the cup. Like it's 4 teams.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a kind of random assortment of teams.
It is.
Why? Like, I mean, why not make it more of a thing?
Why not make it more of a thing?
Yeah.
Because you can only so in recent years they've only been able to play 2 matches in this window. And so it's really just been if you win the first game, they'll have like the trophy at the second game or whatever for you. And so because they're limited on how many matches they can play in this window, just kind of determines why it's not something bigger.
Gotcha.
It's almost a long time ago. Women's soccer had a tournament in Spain called the Algarve Cup, and it was like one of the bigger ones that some of the top teams would be invited to. And I think at some point U.S. Soccer went, why can't we do that and do it here and make some money off of it? And essentially that's what they did. So they started the She Believes Cup, and they would invite a lot of the top teams and all that. So this time was probably not as high of a level for across the board on the teams, but they also didn't win the last She Believes Cup, so that might be why. What's
Canada
next?
I was going to say Canada should be a good match. Not because Canada's great, but it'll be fun to start getting that Canada-USA rivalry match between the younger kids.
Yeah. And just to add on to what you were saying earlier, they will play the 3 games. They will play all 3 teams. So and it'll just be the result of the aggregate from that. So like right now, Canada's leading because they won 4-0 or 4-1. So they're higher up in goal differential. But
well, we're on a hot streak against Canada in other sports. It'd be awfully cool to beat them in this one too.
Shouldn't be hard with Casey Stoney ball. No, I lied. Not Casey. No, it is Casey Stoney, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
It was last time I looked.
Yeah, no.
I haven't paid attention for a while.
I said the name and it felt wrong, but it's not.
It took me a second because I thought you were going to say with, KC Bay players. No, wait.
No. Canada's in an interesting position because with the new league that they have up there, it's getting viewed better than it was, I think, probably intended for. And Casey Stoney has gone on record saying that after losing to the US a few times, that she is disappointed that the people that she's picking to fill the roster is not made up of starters like the USA teams are.
Yeah, like Nichelle Prince, for example, who played for the Current for a couple years.
Who keeps getting called up.
Yes, but
Despite
wasn't
not
starting and
starting.
hardly ever playing for the
Yes.
Current.
Hey, you know what though? That's a Mike stat. Like Mike always loves to talk about the internationals, so got to have them even if they're backups.
I think this segment has started off rough and got rougher.
All right, so Thad, after the media day, Sporting Kansas City media day on Tuesday, you headed to the Kansas City Current media event that they had, opening up their second training center, which is where Netherlands will be training, correct?
Well, it's right next to their current training center, so it's not like a
that's
different
right.
location. It's just a building about 30 feet away from the other building.
Okay.
Without a walkway, without a covered hallway. It seemed weird. Like, why not just put a door? And I don't know. That didn't make sense to me, but not my decisions. So it's another building right next to it. And in reality, they essentially moved the training center that was in the training, a lot of the training stuff that was in the first one to the other one, to the new one. So like the weight machines and bikes are over there, and they're using that for some more physical recovery things in the other building. But it's they had to use all the buzzwords, world class, first and for women, just community, collectivism, and whatever, all these different buzzwords. It was just like take a list of 100 buzzwords, give it to them, and they rearrange them and gave their speeches.
Like they rearranged the furniture, apparently. Yeah.
But the good thing is with the way they built it is that the Current can still train there at the same time Netherlands does. So unlike Sporting, who, as far as I last heard, is still trying to figure out where they're going to train during the World Cup base camp stuff here, because they gave up their one at Pinnacle or Compass Minerals Training Center and the Swope Soccer Village, which, by the way, got a new coat of paint and new signs because Children's Mercy isn't on that stuff anymore. So they had to get all new ones because England's going to be there and a lot of eyes. So they were out there painting the other day when I was there.
They had to block out the Children's Mercy that was on the mural that we filmed in front of.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
Do you think we could sponsor like Swope? How expensive would it be for the KC Soccer Journal to bring to you Swope Soccer Village?
Oh, did you see that they're now like talking about putting like the Tramp advertisements on the back of jerseys? We should get one for St. Louis. We should buy St. Louis's spot. KC Soccer Journal on St. Louis City.
I like that.
All right. Robert, you're in charge of inquiring.
Yeah, I mean, on other related news, sort of to that, the bank I work for, Central Bank, one of the main partners of Sporting Kansas City, right? So they came out with a new debit card, and it says the Soccer Capital of America on it. And when they introduced it at our little meeting, our little Zoom, they're like, well, Sporting did, trademark that a few years ago, so we did have to negotiate with them a little bit to be able to use that phrase. But yes, our new debit card says Soccer Capital of America. So
Do you have locations in St. Louis?
we do, all over the state of Missouri, etc. So
Cool.
yeah, quite funny. They can get that in St. Louis if they want it.
All right. I'm gonna go back to the Current training center for a second though. They kept talking about how it was like world class and all this stuff, and I'm like, they don't have as much stuff as Sporting does in some of their things. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's really good, but they don't have like all the pools and the stuff where you can run underwater and all that kind of stuff, as far as I know, because I didn't see that. But the one thing they do have, which I thought was cool, and I can't remember the exact name of it, but goal systems thing. Like if you remember here in the Dortmund room before, like where they had the room where the ball would come to you and you'd have to pass it into a different hole in a wall and stuff like this. It's essentially like that, but an outside thing. So like a lot of coaches have like the boards that players are supposed to pass the ball to, and it'll come back to them. They'll receive it. So it's kind of like that, except you can set up like 4 of them in a square and they light up. And so like as you pass the ball to one, you have to be scanning to see where's the next one go to. So as the ball comes back to you, then you can position to play it into that and just keep doing that. And they said in a 60-minute session, you could get like 12, 1,300, 1,400 touches on the ball and making passes and receiving the ball, and where it would take you at least 2, 3, 4 real training sessions to have that many touches on a ball. So
Nice.
that is one thing is pretty cool, and you can adjust it for different skill positions and different sizes and stuff like that, and you can go put it away when you're having snowstorms. So that is one thing I thought that they invested in that was actually very cool.
That'll be
Nice.
nice for the next 7v7 tournament.
Yeah, but that's one Sporting should also get something like that, and they could put it down at Swope, and their 2-team and academy kids could use it.
Okay, so Thad, give us an update on the Kansas City Comets.
Well, over the last week and a half, they've dropped from first to fourth. They have not been finishing out well in games. They did win their last game, but they won their last game. I think it was 6-5, or maybe it was 7-6. I don't know. But anyway, it was very close to that, and it was a team that they should have beat more easily. That it was Utica City. They beat Utica City on Sunday afternoon, who had lost in St. Louis 13-0 the night before. And Comets were rested. Utica was not. And the goalie that Utica had was one that they borrowed from the MASL second division. And the MASL second division goalie played on Friday night. He's from Des Moines, played in Wichita on Friday night, played in St. Louis on Saturday, and played in Kansas City on Sunday. So kudos to that guy.
He's seeing the world.
Man, he saw a lot of shots, and he got abused in St. Louis as far as that goes. Like, it was the very rare shutout in indoor soccer. But the Comets have not been playing well, and don't really know why. They just don't seem to be playing up to the potential that they could be.
And the playoffs are how far away?
They have 6 more games, 3 on the road, 3 at home, 4 of them against San Diego Sockers, who are usually the top of the league. And so it's going to be kind of rough for them. They should have no problem making the playoffs, but they might have went from a really high seed to a really low seed if they don't really get it together.
So has it mainly been the scoring that's dried up, or the defense, or?
The scoring's been all right, but the defense has not been as strong as it should have been. And I think that they've had some injuries, but I think they just have not been as coordinated as they should have been in some of those situations.
Well, that kind of leads, Thad, does it not, into the Sporting 2 game in St. Louis this past weekend? It did not go well.
4-0. That's could be worse. Yeah, no, it was not good. I didn't see a whole lot of it because it started. I was watching it. I figured I could only watch the first half before I had to leave to go to Sporting to the first team game because they played the same afternoon. But a St. Louis player got injured early on, and like less than 3 minutes into the game, and they stopped the game because I guess he hurt his arm or shoulder bad enough that an ambulance was called and he was taken off to the hospital. But you can't start a game back up if you don't have an ambulance on site. And I guess it takes a while to get an ambulance back on site in St. Louis.
All right, then.
So,
David, go ahead.
I'm gonna bite my tongue.
Go ahead, David.
No, I'm gonna bite my tongue. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm gonna bite my
Well,
tongue.
it was like a 40-minute delay, and I've been at games where they had to do the same thing because the ambulance left with a player, but it usually only took 15 minutes or so to get a ambulance back. When I've seen that happen, like here with the 2-team, or I think I remember it happening with FC Casey at one point. So
Interesting. All right. Well, right now in MLS action, we've got St. Louis City taking on San Diego, who Sporting play next week at Sporting Park, hosting San Diego FC. San Diego up 1-0, goal in the 3rd minute by Dreyer, of course. So as we look forward to this match coming this weekend, David, thoughts on playing San Diego?
It's gonna be a challenge. I mean, they're very good. The key for Sporting is gonna be to remain organized out of the back and to kind of carry forward the momentum that we have from this past game. We looked a lot less disjointed than we did in our first game against San Jose. So if the team can remain organized, and they don't have to play like a low block to do that, but if they can remain organized, and instead of having to play scramble defense, if they can just, clear their lines and keep it, their heads about them, I could see us trying to grind it to a draw, to a 0-0 draw. I'd be shocked to see us score. I'd be shocked to see it, be more than, a 0-0 draw at best. I mean, maybe steal one like on a counter, but not to be pessimistic. I do expect to lose only because San Diego is very good and we're in a rebuild. I would be, if we lost 1-0, but we played hard and looked kind of like we did against Columbus, I don't know that would be the worst result of all time for us.
So a shout out to Mike Kuhn. We all know in this site, Mike Stats, etc. He was watching Montreal play yesterday, and they got beat by San Diego 5-0 week 1. And he said maybe Sporting's not the worst team in the league. Hopefully, we will do better than Montreal did in that one. But David, I still can't believe you said that we'd be surprised if we can score. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, do you think we're going to?
San Diego had 64% possession against Montreal. Wow.
How much did Columbus have against Sporting yesterday?
53%.
They had more of the ball, but I don't think that, early in the first half, Columbus was doing something with it. Like they were putting us under pressure that first 15, 20 minutes or so. But a lot of Columbus's possession didn't seem to be dangerous. Like there were large swaths of time where Columbus had the ball and I was not worried that they were about to score.
Yeah, they still haven't. Well, we don't want to go back and talk about Columbus so much, but yeah, still 3.48 expected goals, though.
PK is 0.8 of that.
Well,
so
yeah,
it takes it back down to 2.6.
Carrie, give me some positiveness here. We're going to be fine against San Diego, right?
Sure. I thought we'd be a lot worse against Columbus. So let's take that energy and move it to San Diego.
Well, I mean, San Diego did have that large possession against Montreal, but last year they were a lot of a counterattack team, so we need to watch out for that aspect as well. So I imagine we probably will see the back five, which was what it was for us when the other team was in possession. I imagine we'll see that again. Don't know if we'll see Ian James doing what he did, but it'll be interesting for sure.
All right, so you want some positive?
Yeah.
We're only 5 points out of first.
After match day 2. Does that count if San Diego wins tonight? Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it would still be the same. They're 6 points behind San Jose right now. 5 points behind San Jose. They have 6 points. And interestingly, right now, Sporting KC is in last place in the West, 15th out of 15. And if St. Louis loses badly tonight, then they could actually bump them up by goal differential, maybe. But in the East, they would be tied for 8th place in a playoff spot right now. And I know this is really pointless, but I'm just trying to have some fun with stats.
I like it.
Bad stats.
Because I asked Mike for a Mike stat, and he goes, well, I don't really have one, but you could use the one that Sperry gave. And I'm like, yeah, well, Sperry got it from Sporting, so I will credit Sperry with having tweeted it out. But let's see, because Dayon tied Preki for the fastest 20 goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, cool.
Nice. So I thought we'd end possibly with this. After 2 matches, where do you think we're going to end up? Are we a playoff team at this point? Are we going to develop into a playoff team? So we'll go rapid fire really quick. I'm going to you, Carrie. Carrie, playoff team, yes or no?
No.
And remember, that means 9th.
No.
Okay, screw you, Carrie. David.
Okay. Wow.
David, what are your thoughts?
Also no, and before you can be mean to me, I'll be mean to you. Screw you. No, the answer is no. You can be mean to Thad.
All right, Thad, what's your call?
I have to ask the question first.
Okay.
With the team that they have now, or the team I think they'll have in 2 months?
Well, I did say develop into. I did say that phrase.
Thad, are you foreshadowing incoming players?
Again? Damn you.
I have full belief that they will have 3 or more players by the next window, and maybe more. I don't know. I mean, if you listen to the interview with David Lee, he even admits that. If you listen to whatever, they all say that, and so far they've added 1. We've heard about others that they have been close to. I'm pretty sure that they will add some players. And considering that they will have 20 games to, after a long break, to have those players essentially a preseason with Sporting, then yes, they can be a much better team. And I think they will be a much better team. I didn't say a great team, but I think they'll be a playoff team if those players arrive that I think should be arriving.
In theory, should LBJ have his visa to play next weekend?
Good question, Carrie.
You're saying he should, or is that a question?
It is a question. Do we know?
No, we do
Okay.
not know.
Okay.
He was there last night. I actually heard him walk in and somebody asked him like what he thought. And he kind of, I think he was tactfully saying, I saw some good things or something like that. But I saw another person in there that I didn't recognize too, that I thought might be like, maybe they're hiding a player, but I really don't know that. It could have been just a friend or something. So
Carrie, you said Theory and LBJ, and my mind immediately was like, "Oh, JFK conspiracy theories! I love it." I didn't listen to a word that said.
All right, so I'm going to give my thoughts. Thank you for asking.
You're hosting.
No, Robert, screw you.
yeah, twice.
So, the thing about a new head coach and new players is that teams can be surprised. Your opponents can be surprised by what you do because they haven't seen it, right? So that is my concern, that even though we're going to be adding some new players, which is going to be a positive, teams are going to figure out what we're doing, in time and probably fairly quickly. And, it'll be up to Rafa to see how quickly he pivots and what he does with that, and what our new players can do with that, the animation. But, to make the playoffs, guys, just look at last year. We have to leapfrog 6 teams. And I think the 6 teams that were above us at end of last season have improved. But I'm going to go, even though I said mean things to Carrie, I was just trying to be dramatic and the way Cody wants us to be. I don't think we're going to make the playoffs either. Sorry.
All right, so it's a 1 versus 3 on this one, isn't it?
Thad, you can make us eat or drink whatever you want when you.
Whoa,
right.
whoa, 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 whoa. Speak for yourself there, champ. I'll stand on mine. I'd love to be wrong, but I'm not eating or drinking anything.
Eat crow. It was along that idea, David. Come on, man.
Are crow legal to hunt?
All I know is that Thad lived in Korea, and I can just picture him being like, here's your bowl of silkworms.
Good point. Maybe I should think before I speak. But anyway, so we need to end this somehow, and Cody just messaged to us, so good for him. Thanks, Cody. Listen to the show. Anyway, so Thad, I'm going to do the tradition. Something prophetic, please.
It will be a struggle, but they will be better. That's all I can say.
All right. Yeah. Go Sporting! Is that how we're closing?
It's Saturday and the game is on. 10 minutes in, it's 3-0. I'm sipping back on empty can. I don't give a damn if it's 9 a.m. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. The other side don't seem so tough, and 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team